Hello and welcome to One Man's Tracks, the secondhand music channel. Today is the day I'm here to talk about another unfortunate casualty of the cutthroat music industry. An artist who was on her way up that was then snuffed out and suppressed by greed and BS label shuffling that was completely out of her control. Let's get into the many trials and tunes and creative moods of the unjustly obstructed Poe. She was born Anne Danielewski in New York in March of '68, but due to her father's directorial pursuits, she would end up living in 6 different countries on 4 different continents before even turning 8 years old. A singer and a pianist from an early age, the family would eventually settle in Utah for some alienating high school years up until her parents' divorce when she was 16. She moved back to New York, pursuing her mother in an attempt to reconnect with her, and there she would remotely finish her high school studies and be granted a scholarship to study as an undergrad in music at Princeton University, where she'd form her very first band. After a few years, that band broke up, and through a relationship she'd built with producer R.J. Rice and some beats by Jay Dilla, she'd managed to get some demos out to Modern Atlantic Records, who'd sign her in '94 and ship her out to L.A. to start recording this. Released in October of 1995, co-produced by R.J., Jeffrey Connor, Dave Jordan, and Poe herself. Here's Poe's debut album, Hello. Breaking onto the scene with an eclectic stylistic mixing of rock, hip-hop, folk, electronica, formed into her own polished blend of alternative trip-hoppy sounds. Her wide range of influences and assistance leads to quite a variety of sounds and styles across this record's track list, but it all manages to stay united by Poe's ability to deliver each song's themes with a clear, smooth, emotional integrity. A certain special, chameleonic elegance that stylizes this album and allows her essence to shine through some of its more derivative moments, as well as start to try to overcome some of that classic curse of an overbearing pop production here. She shows off honesty, diversity, and grace through these frustrated songs of mixed messages and expresses these sensitive struggles with a yearning for understanding and connection, intently reaching out for something to pull her free from her crestfallen funk, and doing it all so well with such an alluring, easygoing flow. She starts us out languishing deep down in a digital underworld, all alone, just waiting for someone to crack her code on this opening title track, Hello. An atmospheric trip-hoppy tune with a floating resonance that does manage to still stay driven with help from its groovy backbeat and its playfully pushy prerogative that echoes in my mind all day. La da da dee da da hum. Hello, hello. On to another one of this LP's top 20 modern rock hits that saw quite a bit of play on MTV. This one features Dean Pleasance of Suicidal Tendencies, as well as Matt Sorum of Guns N' Roses. It's Trigger Happy Jack. Going full psycho here. Sounded like a mashup of Garbage and Hole. It's a rowdy electro post-grunge rocker all about misplaced anger with its very own emotionally charged, catchy chorus outbursts. Choking the Cherry chugs in with a similarly confrontational vibe. It's got a nice enough melody and overall progression, but just kind of feels a little run-of-the-mill for 90s alt standards. It still keeps the album rocking along without any hang-ups besides the one that this song seems to be about. The cello-accompanied, swiftly sing-spoken, diary-esque narration of the song That Day does surprisingly well to convey its story, doing its best to keep a level head through the face of disappointment and regret. It does eventually have this anger that reaches up to a climactic boiling point, but once it gets there, it doesn't issue much beyond a shallow threat before being washed over by another wave of bitter resignation and this understanding that, while it is good, it does feel a little bit short-sighted and just a redirection of blame. Poe's debut single, Angry Johnny, brings us back to the grooving trip-hop sound of the intro, but this time with more conviction and more seduction in a kind of praying mantis type way. Alluring with a demonic smirk, this Jezebel nonchalantly plotting her revenge with clever double entendres and a tremendous rolling flow. Seeking next to overcome structural shortcomings in a relationship by anamorphing yourself into a completely different creature on the song Dolphin. I know it does sound a little bit silly, but this one's gotta be one of my favorites here. It's got stellar, subtly psychedelic ambience created by some fantastic mixing, and it goes along with the exercise of imagining the unfettered ease of gliding amongst the waves. I gotta be a dolphin. I gotta be a dolphin. Bringing in some blue-pilled reassurance with Another World, a jazzy, wonky, sample-heavy song that Poe approaches like a diva of old, giving us this smoky, crackling throwback performance that pushes the fusion boundaries again. It's quite an exciting tune while it's on, but as interesting as I think it is, its unconventional nature, or maybe just lack of memorable hook, leads to me completely forgetting that this song exists until it comes back around on this track list. Slipping into a lounging R&B cut called Fingertips that turns the seduction way up. It sees Poe audaciously longing for a lover's touch. It's super sexy and has a fun little jazzed up outro to boot. The album then takes an odd turn towards an empowered folk rock song with a bittersweet sentiment to it titled Beautiful Girl, and as lovely as that song is, it just feels a little sequentially out of place, maybe with the following song Junkie that seems like a far more appropriate response to Fingertips. It's a down-tempo attempt at dodging that fingertip steamy insistence, but kind of bumping along anyways, as much as it tries to resist the pull of carnal desires. It shamefully goes through with it while still attempting to duck away of any responsibility that obviously both parties are beholden to in this two-way exchange. Stripping down to just Poe's voice, her piano, and some flute accompaniment, we're sent off by the beautifully forlorn Fly Away. Simple, with an air of pained forgiveness to it that is really quite a touching end to this stimulating introduction to what ought to have been one of the aughts' more exciting pop stars. From its laid-back trip-hop tunes, the smooth and sultry escapist ballads, to the little moments of frank fury and sweet surrender, Hello is a super fun display of playful and accessible progressive pop that I keep coming back to and keeps growing on me every time I do. Just like her 2001 follow-up Haunted seems to as well. Her more ambitious, more diverse concept record that she released alongside her brother Mark's book House of Leaves. He accompanies her a little on the record, as well as their deceased father, who quite literally haunts the album through old recordings that they discovered following his death. That book and the album both seem to confront that, as well as the rocky upbringing the two went through together, and highlights the wonderful connection they managed to foster through it. It appears she played a few charity shows and a couple of shows back in, I think, 2014, but if we ever do get that true Poe comeback, I will take it as a sign to read that book and dive more deeply into that album, because I know there's quite a bit more to talk about there too. It really is quite a shame that after one gold certified debut and a second blossoming record with an opening tour slot with the likes of Depeche Mode to support it, that Poe was just caught up in an absolute nonsense mess when she signed her 3-record extension with Modern Atlantic in the middle of the Warner AOL merger, and then just got dropped amidst the likes of Tori Amos, but trapped in this extensive legal net that didn't even allow her to release any music under the name Poe for many years following all that mayhem. She did manage to do some work with Reese Fulber's Conjure 1 outfit, as well as a bit of soundtrack work, but we never managed to get that third Poe record, and I feel like that's such squandered potential considering the boldness of her second one. I've got them both linked down in the description there for you to listen to and enjoy, and I would love to know your thoughts and memories of both of them down in the comments. In the description there, you'll also see a bunch of other albums that I think you'll enjoy based on this, and just artists I've mentioned throughout this review. Check a couple of them out here, like the video, and maybe subscribe if you want some more music retrospectives. Maybe let me know another artist you think was mistreated and thrown away unjustly by the industry for me to check out. Thank you so much for watching. Take all the best care. Goodbye. Goodbye. And back. Goodbye.